Hi, fourth graders. I miss you guys. I hope you are enjoying your wonderful Wednesday so far. Obviously, things have been crazy before winter break, after winter break. It's just crazy, crazy. But just please understand that it's all for your health and your safety. If you're a student I haven't seen since post winter break, I certainly miss you, and I hope that you're able to watch this video to hear the start of our new book, Blended. And if you are a student who was at school the last 2 days, specifically yesterday, you heard the first few chapters. So you'll be able to skip over this video and move on to the next one, because I'm gonna go ahead and begin by rereading what we have already read. So if there's anyone out there tuning in who hasn't been able to come to school, they can go ahead and listen to the start of the story. All right, so here we go. Our new story is Blended by Sharon Draper. Sharon Draper is a really great author. She's written several books that I really enjoy, that I read every year. But I think that Blended, probably hands down, is my favorite of hers. So here we go. I've got my cozy fake fireplace behind me. I have my coffee, as you guys know, always. This is Ted Lasso. It's a TV show that I binged and absolutely fell in love with, because not only is it funny, but it's about soccer. And you guys know soccer's my fave. All right, so let's get started. Chapter 1. Plunk, plink, ripple, rumble, tinkle, twinkle, boomble. Now I know boomble's not an actual word, but it's a real sound. I can create any musical combination of sounds on my piano. That is my superpower. I sit, hands perched with thirsty fingers, as I get ready to play. I work hard at it, always trying to find the right melodies and harmonies, the upstairs and downstairs scales that rise and fall, the 3 and 4 finger chords that stomp, the fingernail delicate tiptoeing up and down the keyboard, each touch a new sound. White keys, black keys, one at a time. Chords all together. 2 keys make a different sound than 3 keys played together. 4 or 5 mashed at the same time, it's even better. I can do 9 keys, 10 keys to make a chord, but to be honest, 10 keys sounds a little weird. Each combination at the piano is different. Bass, treble, major tones, minor wails. Bass like a celebration, treble like tears. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, 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 down, down, down. Harmony, melody, chords, scales. The black keys, they play sad sounds, almost like someone's crying. And the white keys sometimes laugh. Using only my fingers, I can make the black and white keys dance together and do whatever they want. When I play the piano, I rock. It would be nice if the rest of my life came together like some kind of magical musical symphony. But no, not usually. So that was already the first chapter, and we learned a little bit about her character. We don't know her name just yet, but apparently she loves playing the piano. Chapter 2. I started playing piano when I was 3. Well, sort of. For my birthday that year, I got one of those plastic keyboard toys done up in cotton candy pink. The kind with fat keys that played way out of tune and drove grown-ups crazy. But I loved it. I wasn't interested in any of the dolls or blocks or tea sets I'd been given. Only that piano, plinking and plunking on it nonstop. My parents had to take it away from me that night, just for a little peace and quiet. But I cried myself to sleep. The next morning, I demanded that they take it down from the top of the refrigerator where they put it out of my reach, and I played on it the rest of the day. I learned to pick out tunes, figured out the different tones of each note. I wanted more. So my big Christmas ask was always for a piano. Top of my list, even though my parents would tease and pretend that they'd forgotten. Every other year, I'd find a big box wrapped in red paper. A toy piano. A red one. Another that was pink. Each one a little bit better than the one I'd gotten before. I taught myself to create my own tunes and later to read a little music. Yeah, I was obsessed. But still, they were just toys, and usually some of the plastic keys would give out in a few months. The Christmas after I turned 7, there was no big box at all. I got a doll, which they should have known I was no longer interested in playing with dolls. I got some clothes, art supplies, a couple of board games, which was dumb because we never played games together. I suppose it was selfish, but I was kind of mad. Finally, after all the gifts had been opened, Mom said all chipper, "I'm hungry, let's have pancakes." Dad said just as cheery, "Good idea. Isabella, would you go check to see if we have any pancake mix?" I couldn't figure out why he was asking me to do that, but it was Christmas, so I said sure. I checked the cupboard and I found 2 boxes of the pancake mix, so I returned to the living room to report. Just then, sitting in the middle of the floor, where just moments ago there had been only a balled up red and green paper, there was a huge box wrapped in silver. What do you think it is? On it was my name written in large black letters. I gasped. "Open it," my parents said together. I hesitated for a second, then tore through the wrapping. It was a portable piano. A real piano keyboard. "Oh, wow," I remember saying. It was black and shiny, and it seemed to fill up the whole living room floor. I was in heaven. With 88 weighted keys, it almost felt like a real piano. Built-in speakers, too, plus buttons I could push for rhythms like jazz beats and military and drums. I didn't really need those, but they added some fun. I could record on it. I could play back stuff that I'd created. It let me listen to myself so I could correct mess-ups and smooth out hard sections. Mom signed me up for piano lessons at school. Daddy bought me sheet music. But even though my parents were the ones who'd bought it for me, they started getting annoyed at my constant banging on the piano. Some days they looked angry when they told me to give it a break. And it took me a while to realize they weren't really mad at me. They were mad at each other. The noise probably jangled their nerves, and their nerves were plenty jangled. They had always fought about stupid stuff, but now it seemed like they fought all the time. They bickered over whether we'd have hot dogs or hamburgers for dinner. They squabbled over whether I could wear jeans or leggings. An argument could break out at any moment over lost car keys or bars of soggy soap or burnt toast. Then there was the Kool-Aid incident. Who would have thought something as simple as Kool-Aid would cause a fight? But yeah, it was about 3 years ago. I guess I was around 8 years old. They started arguing right before dinner. Daddy hated blue Kool-Aid for some reason. He said the turquoise color and the raspberry flavor just didn't make sense, so he wouldn't drink it. I was sitting at the table getting ready to pour myself a big glass. Mom's voice got loud, and Daddy's voice got louder. By this point, I was shaking. Like really shaking. Then Daddy actually started shouting, and I dropped the entire container of the stuff on the floor. The pitcher broke. Blue sticky mess went everywhere, and the shouting turned to bellows. And Mom started crying. Oh, I knew I was in trouble. I ran to my room, I curled up in a ball, and I covered my ears with a pillow. When the hollering finally settled down, it was way past my bedtime. I tiptoed into the kitchen. I grabbed 2 slices of cold pizza from the fridge. Mom and Daddy had forgotten all about dinner. And apparently they'd forgotten about me too. So we've been introduced now to our main character, Isabella, and her parents, right? Her mom and her dad. And it seems like the conflict is already starting right from the beginning of the book, which is why I like Sharon Draper a lot, because a lot of her stories, right in the beginning, it catches you because she introduces part of what the plot is going to be or part of that conflict right away. So we're seeing disagreements between Isabella's parents. Chapter 3. I was just getting up the next morning when Daddy knocked on my door. "You awake?" he asked gently. "Yeah." "You okay?" "I guess." I sat up against my pillow. "I'm so sorry, Isabella. So very sorry that the problems between me and your mom got all mixed into your life." "Mom was crying," I told him. I'm not sure if I was accusing him or wanting an explanation. Probably both. "I know. I guess all I can tell you is how sorry I am," he said. "Well, I'm sorry I spilled the Kool-Aid. I made such a mess. And I know sometimes I forget to wash the dishes." No, he said quickly. "You've done nothing wrong. Not one thing. This is our fault, not yours. We were being ugly to each other, and you shouldn't have had to hear it. I'm so sorry. None of this is about that drink that has too much sugar in it." He gave me a little hug and a smile. "The Kool-Aid was just the thing that we disagreed about this time. It could have been the carpet or the toothpaste, even the weather. It seems like we just can't agree about anything anymore." "Yeah, I've noticed," I sort of mumbled. It's kind of hard not to. Daddy traced my nose with his finger. "We argue about lots of stuff, but we never argue about you, Isabella. That we both agree on. We both absolutely adore you. You understand that, right?" It was clear he wanted me to say yes, so I nodded. "Your mom is upset with me, Izzy, not you," Daddy went on. Weird. Daddy never calls me Izzy. That was Mom's nickname. He liked the sound of Isabella when he said it out loud, so he always says Isabella, not Izzy. "None of this is your fault. So why are you two always yelling and mad at each other?" He nodded like I asked a smart question. He nodded for so long that I wondered if he'd forgotten what I actually asked. And then he said, because we've kind of ended up growing in different directions." I pressed my lips together hard. This didn't sound like a good thing. So I told him, "But you're grown-ups. You're already done growing." "I'm so sorry," he said again. It made me kind of itchy listening to Daddy talk about this and keep apologizing to me. Somehow it just didn't feel right either. Then he started sniffling. "Sweetheart, the thing is, I've been unhappy for such a long time. And so is your mom. The frustration's just piled up. It's just not working anymore." Daddy was blinking hard. What wasn't working? Our family? "Because of frustrations," he said. I gulped. I cause a lot of frustrations. A couple weeks ago, I burnt the cupcakes I was baking because I forgot to set the timer. I lost my math homework and Mom had to call my teacher. And twice last week, I forgot to flush the toilet. Ick! What was wrong with me? "Is it my fault?" I blurted out. "Oh, no, he cried, reaching for me. "Isabella, you are absolutely 100% perfect. It's us. It's not you." He paused then and he looked me straight in the eye. His face was so close that I could see a couple of beard hairs on his chin that he missed when he shaved. I want you to understand that your mom and I love you very much. I waited. I could tell there was a but coming. A reason, an explanation, an excuse. And it came. It was the worst but ever. But we've decided that it would be better if we went to live, well, if I went to live in another house so we could stop all this fighting. I shook his hand from my shoulder. You're moving out? I couldn't even make my mouth say the words. To where? He looked down, he traced the pattern of my bedspread with his finger, and then he said something even worse. Isabella, I've been offered a job in California. California? I jumped off the bed and glared at him. That's 1,000,000 miles away from Ohio. How will I? When will I? I couldn't finish either question because I just started bawling. You can visit every summer and at Christmas and spring break. I'll always be here for you, baby girl. Always. He tried to sound positive, but it sure sounded like a load of fake to me. Parents like to say stuff like that, I told him, balling my hands into fists, open, closed, open, closed. But if you live in California, Daddy, you won't be here for my piano recitals or my soccer games. You won't be here for me. Daddy started with that nodding thing again. Well, there's FaceTime and video chats and all that computer stuff you kids are good at these days. You can show me. We'll stay in constant contact, I promise. Those tears in his eyes were getting ready to fall. No, he wasn't the one that should be crying, even if he did look like the saddest dad on earth right now. So I said, pinky swear, to make him feel better, even though this felt way too big for a little old pinky swear. He offered me his left hand, strong and brown. I offered him mine, soft and pale. My hand was trembling, but then I pulled away suddenly. I asked him one more question. All the whispers and giggles and stifled remarks I'd heard at school kind of flooded my mind. Stuff I'd ignored or brushed off. But I had to ask, I had to know. Daddy, are you and Mommy splitting up because you're black and she's white? He got real serious. He circled my face with his hands gently. Then he whispered, no, my precious Isabella. This has nothing to do with race. Please believe me. When your mom and I first met, we simply fell in love. We didn't see color. She saw me. And I saw her. And for a while, that was enough. You've got to believe that. His eyes seemed to be pleading for me to understand. I said nothing for a minute, staring at him a long time, trying to memorize every inch of his cocoa brown face, his wide, broad shoulders, his thick black hair. Slowly, I offered him my pinky finger again. I pinky swear that I'll love you forever, he said, almost in tears. I bit down on my lip, no crying. Me too, is what I said. I didn't add the idea of a forever without my daddy. It seemed like music without any sound. Wow. A lot. Just in the first 3 chapters, right? So you might already have figured out why this book is called Blended, because we learned something really important about our character Isabella and her family. The important thing that we learned in chapter 3 is that her parents are of 2 different races. Her dad is black and her mom is white. Therefore, Isabella is biracial. She said that she, has tried to ignore things at school, when they're out in public, the way people talk, whisper, laugh, all those things. And so she wanted to know, are you getting divorced because you're different colors? And Dad said, no, we loved each other, that's true. But he said they just can't seem to agree. It's Very, very heavy start to a book, right? But like I said, it captures you right from the start. So those are the first 3 chapters. I will be continuing with the next few chapters and posting another video. Thanks guys for listening. I hope that you are enjoying the book so far. And I hope that I get to see you guys soon. Bye.